Sweet mother, send your child unto me, for the sins of the unworthy must be baptized in blood and fear. The words of the Black Sacrament, spoken only by those wishing to invoke a response and strike a deal with a member of the Dark Brotherhood, to carry out an assassination in their name. Silent, unseen, committing these malevolent deeds under the shroud of darkness and ambiguity. So we must ask the question, who are the Dark Brotherhood? The Dark Brotherhood's history is steeped within that of the Morag Tong. Their existence would be null without it. To understand the Dark Brotherhood, we must first understand the Morag Tong and their deep-seated history within Tamriel. While fewer in number than their prime, the Morag Tong still exist in the modern world of the Elder Scrolls and are different from the Dark Brotherhood in many ways. Instead of worshipping the Dreadfather Sithis, they instead celebrate each and every one of their murders in the name of the goddess Methala. The origins of the Morag Tong are unknown, there being no record of their founding or earliest years, likely formed naturally over many years by the Chimeri in Resdain, as the goddess Methala taught the Chimer the ancient arts of deception, lies, and murder. The forming of a group used to carry out murders at the will of others for a price was inevitable, so that those in high positions could maintain face while removing their adversaries behind the scenes. Their existence becoming relied upon more as time went on, and strife between noble houses grew greater. As a sanctioned guild with a relationship with the Morrowind government, they were able to avoid all persecution. To ensure the assassinations were carried out according to guild business, they implemented a writ system where those in search of their services must approach one of their guild halls and provide payment for their execution to be carried out. To exonerate themselves from any legal persecution, the Morag Tong would print themselves legal documents called writs of execution. When presented to authorities, this completely absolved the assassin of the crime they committed, even if there were countless witnesses willing to testify. Because of this, they were expected to turn themselves into a guard as soon as they completed their assassinations. They are considered a necessary part of Dunmeri society, keeping the balance within politics. However, when contracted to assassinate foreign parties and politicians, it is obvious how troubles would arise. It is believed that in the year 2920 of the First Era, the Morag Tong assassinated the emperor at the time, Riemann Cyrodiil III, possibly hired to do so by the man who would then take the throne, Versidue Shay. Around the year 324 of the Second Era, they would commit the crime of killing this emperor as well, smearing his blood on the walls near his corpse to spell out Morag Tong, so that there could be no question as to who committed this heinous crime. This would lead to the people of the era finding the Morag Tong to be solely responsible for these atrocious crimes against the Empire, and would lead to their ultimate downfall, paving the path for the later formation of the Dark Brotherhood. One of the most important distinctions between the Dark Brotherhood and the Morag Tong is that the Brotherhood is as much a business as it is a cult. They were used by rulers and merchants as an unofficial assassins' guild. The Brotherhood gained the obvious rewards of such a profitable enterprise, an important factor being that rulers could no longer actively persecute them. They were needed as purveyors of a most essential commodity of the times. Any leader, even the most virtuous, would be unwise to mistreat the Brotherhood. The Dark Brotherhood are loyal followers of Sithis, god of death. They are sworn to uphold the tenements of chaos. They are vicious foes to those who would follow the roads of law, often patrolling outer paths and byways for unwary travelers. It is often said that the Brotherhood does not associate with any other group, contesting that even the necromancers are not true to the word of the Dark Lord. They instead work towards what they call a pure form of chaos. Few have faced them with their souls intact. To outsiders, they are not individuals, but instead one entity that acts as such. However, within the guild, there are rules that must be followed without falter, for they are set in the name of Sithis, and were created to ensure that he is satisfied with their efforts. These are the Tenets. Tenet 1. Members must never dishonor the Night Mother, for doing so is paramount to dishonoring Sithis. Tenet 2. Members must never betray the Dark Brotherhood, lest they be faced with the wrath of Sithis. Tenet 3. Members must never disobey or refuse to carry out the orders of a superior. To do so may invoke the wrath of the entire guild. Tenet 4. Members must never steal the possessions of another dark brother or sister, for Sithis would punish them justly. And Tenet 5. Members must never kill a fellow dark brother or sister. To do so is to invoke the full wrath of Sithis. These are upheld by all members of this sinister society. Those who break these tenets are dealt with in whatever manner Sithis deems just and far from merciful. Within the Brotherhood, there exists a hierarchy, at the top being the great god Sithis. Behind him is the Night Mother, first to hear the Dark Lord speak to her directly. Next is the listener, a person able to hear the Night Mother's voice speak into them directly. They then relay her words to those known as speakers, who pass on this to silencers and chroniclers, who record the Mother's wisdom for those worthy to read it in future. Only then do you reach the leaders of the sanctuaries, under whom are the majority of the members of the organization. The listener being the thumb of the Black Hand, one of the 5 truly elite members, with the 4 fingers being the speakers. The listener relays the Night Mother's whispers to the speakers, who dispatch brothers or sisters to execute the deeds. This may leave you to wonder, who is the dark god Sithis that the brothers and sisters of the Dark Brotherhood worship with such reverence and loyalty? At the start of the universe, there existed 2 beings, Anu, the quintessential form of stasis and order, and their antithesis, Padomai, the quintessential form of change and chaos, the latter being known by many names other than simply Padomai, such as Fadomai, Koda, and Sithis. He is the god of chaos and the void, often attributed to being the ancestor of the Daedric princes, whose souls are intertwined with that of Sithis. He is neither an Aedra or a Daedra. Sithis is the bird's soul incarnate of Padomai, and the equal yet opposite force to Anwiel, who is the bird's soul incarnate form of Padomai's opposite force, Anu. The conditions that Sithis and Anwiel placed upon each other during their interplay led to the manifestation and creation of the Orbis, in which the realms of Aetherius, Oblivion, and Mundus would form. Sithis is regarded as the one who started this interplay with Anwiel, which is why he is held in such high esteem. When Anwiel birthed his soul, Auriel, to quell the confusing and turbulent Orbis by creating time, Sithis responded by birthing his own soul, Lorcan, in an attempt to destroy the entire universe through trickery and deceit and return the universe to the void it once was. Found within Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, there is a book titled Sithis that details all of this in a very different light, a light that leaves Anu nameless and casts the tale that he was destroyed by Sithis. Before Sithis was nothing, but the foolish Altmer have names for and revere this nothing. That is because they are lazy slaves. Indeed, from the sermons, stasis asks merely for itself, which is nothing. Sithis sundered the nothing and mutated the parts, fashioning from them a myriad of possibilities. These ideas ebbed and flowed and faded away, and this is how it should have been. One idea, however, became jealous and did not want to die. Like the stasis, he wanted to last. This was the demon Anwiel, who made friends, and they called themselves the Aedra. They enslaved everything that Sithis had made and created realms of everlasting imperfection. Thus are the Aedra the false gods, that is, illusion. So Sithis begat Lorcan, and sent him to destroy the universe. Lorcan, unstable mutant. Lorcan had found the Aedric weakness. While each rebel was, by their nature, immeasurable, they were, through jealousy and vanity, also separate from each other. They were also unwilling to go back to the nothing of before, so while they ruled their false dominions, Lorcan filled the void with a myriad of new ideas. These ideas were legion. Soon it seemed that Lorcan had a dominion of his own, with slaves and everlasting imperfections, and he seemed, for all the world, like an Aedra. A man named Lucien Lechance once said, "How does one best describe our dread father? Imagine a perfect, cloudless midnight, cold as winter ice and shrouded in shadow. That is Sithis. He who we call Sithis has many other names as well. Chaos, doom, discord. Sithis is the void." This then brings us to the Night Mother, a being of great importance with little explanation. Who is she to the ancient god Sithis? What makes her so significant to the Dark Brotherhood? Known also as the Blood Flower or Lady Death, she is the bride of the Dreadfather. Those who perform the Black Sacrament do not pray to Sithis, but instead to the Night Mother, in hopes that she will hear your message and speak to her listener to set the guild's assassins upon their next victim. In Oblivion, her tomb can be found underneath the statue of the lucky old lady in Bravil. Located within are the skeletal remains of one adult and 5 children, substantiating the beliefs of the Brotherhood. Some even believing that she and the lucky old lady are one and the same due to them both being surrounded by 5 children. However, the woman depicted by the statue is said to have lived in the First Era, and the Night Mother is confirmed to have lived during the Second Era, according to the book The Night Mother's Truth. The Night Mother's history is also that of the Brotherhood, being its originator. Much of this is detailed in a book titled The Night Mother's Truth that can be found within Skyrim, written by one Gaston Belfort, which gives a deeper insight into the earliest days of the Dark Brotherhood, as well as the events that led to their conception. Starting with a woman's name that has been lost to time, the Night Mother was once a mere mortal, a dark elf woman who lived in a small village once located where the city of Bravil stands now, in the imperial province of Cyrodiil. She was a respected member of the Morag Tong, and, like her fellow members, this woman made her trade as an assassin in service of the Daedric prince Mofala. In fact, the woman held the title of Night Mother, reserved for the highest-ranking female member of the organization. To be Night Mother of a particular sect was to be that group's matron, the favored of Mofala, both respected and feared. However, it was not Mofala who facilitated the transformation from woman to spectre, but another, some would say far deeper form of evil, Sithis, the Dreadlord, embodiment of the unending void. Following Potentate Versidue Shay's assassination in 324 of the Second Era, strife descended upon the Morag Tong, and the guild was all but eradicated in Cyrodiil and much of the Empire. They had gained far too much hubris, as they had written Morag Tong in the blood of their hapless victim, so that there was no question as to whom had committed this unforgivable atrocity against the Empire and its people. The Empire then immediately outlawed anything and everything to do with the Morag Tong. It was shortly after these events that the Dunmer woman claimed to hear the voice of Sithis himself. The Dreadlord, she claimed, was displeased. He was unhappy with the Morag Tong's lack of success. The Void, he told her, was hungry for soul, and it was her destiny to set things right. And so, according to Dark Brotherhood legend, Sithis visited the Night Mother in her bedchamber one fateful night and begat her 5 children. 2 years then passed before the unthinkable happened. The Dark Elf woman followed through the Dreadlord's ultimate plan. One night, she murdered her children in remorseless cold blood and sent their souls straight to the void, straight to their father. When they learned of this affront to decency, the people of the village rallied against the woman, for such an act was considered incomprehensible even for the Night Mother of the Morag Tong. In one night of vengeance, they descended upon the woman, killing her and burning down the house in which the atrocity took place. And that was the end of the story, or so everyone thought. A little more than 30 years later, in 366 of the Second Era, an unarmed man heard a strange, comforting voice inside his very head, just as the Dunmer woman claimed to hear the voice of Sithis inside hers. The voice identified itself as the Night Mother, and named the man Listener, the first of many, and so the unholy matron set her servant on his path. He would found a new organization, a guild of assassins known as the Dark Brotherhood, in service not to Mofala, but to the Dreadlord Sithis. The Morag Tong, now surviving only in Morrowind, was an artifact of a forgotten age. The Dark Brotherhood would marry business with death, the organization would grow in wealth and power, and the void would swell with fresh souls. It was, the Night Mother told her listener, the perfect arrangement. There is, however, the chance that they could have existed even earlier, as written by Polarn Assi in the Brothers of Darkness. The first mention of the Dark Brotherhood that he found was from the journals of the Blood Queen Arlamahara of Hegath. She spoke of slaying her enemies by her own hand, or if necessary, with the help of the Night Mother and her Dark Brotherhood, the secret arsenal my family has employed since my grandfather's time. Arlamahara wrote this in 413 of the Second Era, so one can surmise that the Dark Brotherhood had been in existence since at least 360 if her grandfather had truly made use of them. The Brotherhood grew from just a minor splinter faction of the Morag Tong into a powerful interprovincial guild at an alarming speed. At the beginning of the Septim dynasty, they carried out one of the most significant assassinations in the history of all of Tamriel, murdering Pelagius I, the only truly legitimate child of Emperor Tiber Septim. In the Third Era, the Brotherhood attempted to make a foothold in Morrowind, an area already filled with the murders of the remaining members of the Morag Tong. However, all of these schemes were foiled by the famed Nerevarine. During the Oblivion Crisis, at the climax of the era, the Dark Brotherhood of Cyrodiil took a nearly fatal blow, this event becoming known as the Purification. The Black Hand became aware that the Brotherhood had a member attempting to destroy them from within. The culprit was the Speaker, Matthew Belmont, who revealed himself and was slain by his peers, but not before the Cheydinhal Sanctuary was purified. Purification in this circumstance is an ancient rite in which the Black Hand acts to cleanse treachery and distrust by cleansing and wiping out an entire sanctuary. These cleansings may have worked well to quell distrust in their ranks during their prime, however time was not kind to the Dark Brotherhood. As the Fourth Era continued on, the Brotherhood experienced a fall from grace, caused by both the Great War in Tamriel as well as internal conflicts. These factors led to numerous sanctuaries across Tamriel being abandoned or otherwise destroyed. Cicero details these events in his journal, describing the downfall of the Bruma Sanctuary as he writes, "We received word today. The Wayrest Sanctuary was raided and destroyed by the Corsairs. There were no survivors. There are now only 3 active Dark Brotherhood strongholds remaining. The Cheydinhal Sanctuary, here in the Imperial Province, a remote sanctuary located in a forest in Skyrim, and the Corinth Sanctuary of elsewhere. The Black Hand has, however, ordered the Corinth Sanctuary closed and its members integrated into our own ranks here in Cheydinhal. I will embrace those new family members as warmly as I was when I first made my home here." Not long after this, things escalated quickly, Cheydinhal erupting into violence and chaos as the remaining brothers and sisters struggled for survival with no speaker and contracts dwindling to nothingness. The keeper of the Night Mother's coffin and corpse, slowly growing mad by the deafening silence within his head, forever hoping to hear the Night Mother's voice but never hearing anything but his own thoughts. The leader of the sanctuary, Rasha, claiming herself to be listener. However, he was unable to name the binding words, perhaps making this claim in an attempt to further himself and his interests in these trying times for the Brotherhood. Murdered by Cicero for his insolence, there were then only 3. Pontius, Garnag, and Cicero. Pontius was the next to die, this time at the hands of a common bandit. Then, Garnag leaving to get food for himself and Cicero only to never return. This led Cicero to reaching out to the last possible option, the final sanctuary located in the Falkreath region of the province of Skyrim. The leader of this sanctuary, Astrid, responding that he may join them if he is to bring the Night Mother as well. In modern-day Tamriel, the Dark Brotherhood is crippled, struggling for survival ever since the end of the Third Era. Due to the events that took place within Oblivion, the Dark Brotherhood holds on by only a thread within Cyrodiil, barely managing to survive until the Great War, when one after another the Brotherhood's sanctuaries were being destroyed. By the end of this war, they were near total destruction once again. In an attempt to remedy this, one of the remaining Brotherhood assassins named Cicero took the Night Mother's corpse from Bravil to the sole sanctuary left located in Skyrim. The Dark Brotherhood still had no listener, and thus nobody to hear the Night Mother, so word of the Black Sacrament is heard only through rumors. This type of struggle continues until the Dragonborn intervenes within the events of Skyrim. Minions of the Dreadfather Sithis, exacting his plots and whims across the lands of Tamriel to feed his hunger and fill the void with more souls. The Dark Brotherhood are anything but good. Riding the fence of neutrality and evil, they are assassins of the highest caliber, who have executed even emperors without so much a trace. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. If there's anything I missed, please let me know in a comment down below. And if you're interested in more videos like this, please consider the videos on screen now. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.